Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to episode 102 of Talking Asperger's with Andrew. My name is Andrew Marsh, and I'm autistic, and I'm on this webinar today to give you a bit of an insight about certain things about autism and Asperger's syndrome that might be able to help you in employment situation if you're an employer or someone with Asperger's, and how you can again navigate and negotiate those tricky things about people and being in groups and things like that. Why do I do this? Well, I was diagnosed nearly 9 years ago now with Asperger's syndrome, and everything fell into place. A lifetime of not knowing why I was different, just that I was different. And it explains so many things that happened in my childhood and growing up, how I was treated by other people, family members, work colleagues, people at college. And it's like the penny drop, that moment when I understood who and what I was. And I now use my lived experience of being someone with Asperger's, trying to fit in with people and having a career. I was a geologist for 23 years and think, well, how would I go about trying to have someone like me in my business? How could I help them be good at what they do? How can we support them in that? So that's a little bit about why I do what I do, because I want to help people, help businesses do it better, because we can do it better. I mean, let's be honest, we can do better at all sorts of things across the board. And my little bit of that is managing Asperger's syndrome in the workplace and doing that better. That's my goal. I can do that one person at a time, one company at a time. Fantastic. If I can support one person who's on the spectrum, help them manage themselves and manage with their colleagues better at work, fantastic. But my aim is to spread the message about the great skills. And let's face it, people who are autistic and people who have Asperger's have great skills. They're just not always appreciated because of some of the little idiosyncrasies that they have and not fitting in and things of that nature. So what I do every month now, we've gone to a monthly format, is talk about something about Asperger's syndrome in the workplace or something autistic and see if it can help someone who's watching this either live or on the video, on replay on my YouTube channel. And let's not forget, we are now on the 3rd of January. So happy new year to everyone. Should have said that right at the beginning. But we've had a tough year. I think 2003 has been a tough year for everyone. We've come out of COVID. We've kind of got to this. What do we do now? Do we drift back into what we had before COVID? Do we have we adapted? Have we modified how we manage people, how we build our teams, how we support our teams, or have we just slipped back into old bad habits? Maybe we have, maybe we haven't. But what I see now is a great opportunity to understand autism and Asperger's syndrome better and understand the person. Because when we boil it all down, we can have reports and we can have this and we can have the other and we can have lists of things. And when it all boils down to it, what we are talking about is a person, a human being who has a condition called Asperger's syndrome or autism spectrum disorder, as some people call it. And it brings with it certain facets. Some of them are brilliant at numerical analysis and computing and design and architecture. Some are great artists, some are great writers. Some of us are challenges about people. I mean, my biggest challenge is people. Full stop. People. So we can do better. So we can do better by understanding the human being that is in front of us. How can we support you? Because ultimately, in business, we really should be asking one question and one question only. How can I, the employer, best support you, the employee, so that you can be your productive, efficient, effective best? Because if all any of your employees is that they're productive, efficient, effective bests, they're going to do good work. It's going to be great work, and the business will thrive. It'll make money, it'll make profit, keep their customers and clients happy, and they share that reward with their employees on an annual basis, or with bonuses as well as annual raises. That's what a business is about. Look after your employees, support them, provide a service for your clients and customers, and the business will take care of itself. So, gone on about that a little bit, but it's important to understand that when all is said and done, what we are talking about is a human being with their needs, wants, desires, strengths, weaknesses, challenges. How can we incorporate them, support them in business so they are great at what they do? Because that autistic person, that person with Asperger's syndrome, might look at something and probably does look at something in a completely different way to your neurotypical colleagues. And they might be sitting there going, if we looked at it like this, and how about if we approached it like that? We might better fix that. How about if we did it this way? That's a good idea. Let's investigate that further. And you might come up, probably will come up with a way to solve your long-standing problem. Fix the thing that no one's been able to fix before. Come up with a new idea, new product, new service, drive the business forward so that in 3 years' time, 5 years' time, you are the market leader. You are the trend. You are the people who are driving the industry. That's my goal. Big goal. We can do it together. We can do it. So today's talk is slight drum roll. We're going to talk about something that you might think, oh, not much of a topic. But actually, it's very important to autistic people and people with Asperger's syndrome, and that is small talk. Yeah, small talk. That chitter chatter about what went on the telly last night and who did what to whom and who said this and that said that. And oh, oh, yeah, big sigh. Most autistic people and people with Asperger's syndrome, like me, detest small talk with a vengeance. It's not like, don't really like that. Like, I'm a peanut butter guy or I'm a maple syrup guy that don't like it or I don't like it. We're not that kind of don't like it. We are vehemently hating of small talk because it has no purpose. It is chewing up time. It is distracting people from what they're doing. And, I have to say this, when you're at work, you should be working. Yes, there are times when you're having your coffee break and when you're having lunch when you might want to talk about other things. But when you are in employment and you are engaged in doing a job, get on and do it. Do it to the best of your ability. Get support from the teams around you and your bosses, your employer, and get on and do it. And the autistic person, the person with Asperger's syndrome, will be absolutely on the case, wanting to do that and doing it right. They're not, they trust me when I say this, they don't care who won at the football last night or on Saturday. They don't care what was on Strictly or another reality television com- competition thing. I don't even can't even call them the right names because I really just don't care about them. These adversarial programs. Let's put 12 people on a beach in the middle of nowhere on an island and see how they get on and stick TV cameras at them. What? I don't care. Trust me when I say this. I do not care. Now, don't wish harm to come to these people, but I am not interested the slightest bit in any of it. None of it. Talk to me about something exciting about how we can fix the problem that we've got at work, how we can solve that, how we can deliver a better report or a new product or a new service to our customers and our clients. Talk to me about that. Yes, please. Have me on board. Sit me in the meeting room. Let's do this. Let's have an open book and have a chat about these things. Absolutely. Count me in. I will be there. Let's do that. What happened on another television program or a soap? Please don't talk about it near me. I am not interested. Don't care. Have not got the faintest glimmer of interest in any of that. Don't care what your next door neighbour did yesterday. Don't care. So long as it's not affecting me, my peace and quiet and the ability for me to go about, live my life in my way. I don't care what other people do. You know, obviously, I don't want people to go around breaking the law and running around with guns and shooting people and all that. But, you know what I'm saying. I don't care what the Joneses are doing next door. Not the slightest bit interested. The Joneses want to come and talk to me about my work, or could do with some landscaping advice on the garden. What do you think, Andrew? Where could we get some decent rocks from? Yes, count me in. Count me in on that. Like to be part of the constructive discussion about solving something, making something look nice, making something better. Count me into that. But other stuff, two old women talking over a fence about this, that, and the other. No, not for me. Not for me. Those of you of a certain age, and about my sort of age, might remember a comedian called Les Dawson. Um, he used to do the archetypal mother-in-law jokes. And I'm not going to do any of those. But he had a television program on the BBC and also on ITV from time to time, and he had two characters. You know, comedians they quite often have characters, and this little skit that they used to do, and it was Roy Barraclough, and they used to do Sissy and Ada, where they would dress up as two old dears talking about this, that, and the other, and who said what to whom and who did that, and it was funny because it was taking the Mickey out of that kind of situation. But I'm not into your Sissy and Ada talking nonsense over the garden fence about this, that, and the other. And no, please don't. And it's not. It, it it's more than I'm not interested in it. If I if I'm hearing it because two people in the cubicle next to me or in the desk next to me are going on and on and on about what was the football or this, that, and the other, it it disturbs my mental well-being. It grates. It absolutely grates. It's like nails down a chalkboard. It's like that grating sound of screeching bus brakes outside your door, outside the window. It's absolutely stuff that puts my whole mind, my whole brain on absolute edge. And it's, will you please shut up and go away and talk about something more interesting? It, it is that annoying. It's not like, oh, they're talking about the football. I'm getting on with my work. That distraction of that meaningless conversation about nothing is really, really distracting, really annoying. And it can really disturb my mental well being and get me really quite annoyed, particularly if they're going on and on and on and on. And 20 minutes later, they're still going on and on and on. And an hour later, they're going on and on. You know what I mean? You know the people that I'm talking about. You probably got them in your family, in your neighborhood, in your business, in your work. And there's always that person from admin or the office down the corridor who seems to, don't know what the right word is, they seem to disseminate themselves around the building, having these meaningless conversations with different groups of people and not actually doing any work at all for the day. Nothing. They'll go and have a half an hour conversation over there. Then they'll go to that department and have another 20-minute conversation with someone over there. Did you know what happened about that the other day on the telly? And they'll go and find someone else to talk to over there. And they will spend all day like bees, high, buzzing around, finding someone, anyone to talk nonsense to about nothing. And they will be brilliant at doing that and talk about nothing all day. Do no work at all. And no one picks them up about it. Drives me nuts. Absolutely nuts. And I'm not just talking, I'm slightly miffed with this. I am talking people with Asperger's and autistic people get absolutely, will you please shut up or go away and have that conversation somewhere else? Because I can't cope with that in my bubble, in where I am working. I can't cope with it. So please go away. Why don't you get on with your work? Why don't you do that? That's what you're being paid to do. But just, if you're going to have the conversation, go away. Get out of my ear. Do it so that I can't hear it, can't see it. Not interested in it. It's that annoying to autistic people and people with Asperger's syndrome. We can't just go, shrug it off and carry on. It gets us way, way more severe than that. It really does disrupt our mental well-being, takes us off our focus, and it's really, really annoying. And it's unnecessary. You're at work, you should be working. A little more difficult when it's in the neighborhood and person from your family is, "Ooh, there's so and so from next door. Let's talk to them about whatever." And they're doing it for hours at a time. Oh boy, that absolutely drives me nuts. Excuse me, drives me nuts. And I have to walk away from it. If I can walk away from it, I will walk away from it. The problem comes when you are in a family situation and two or more people are having this conversation. You're in the room and there's nowhere to go, nowhere to escape. Might go to the toilet, might go and sit in the garden. I have to get away from that because I can't cope with it. I absolutely cannot cope with it. And people around me don't get it. They just think, oh, I'm just having a conversation, catching up with so and so. Yeah, I can't cope with it. I really cannot cope with that incessant chatter about nothing. Nothing. It really does. Really does get to me. It gets to a lot of autistic people. It's interesting when I posted a little late this week as to what this week's topic was. I had several people on my LinkedIn profile said, "When you, can you get a video?" "Oh, I agree with this. I absolutely detest small talk." I had several people comment on the post about it, and one chap actually said, "Let me know if it's been recorded and there's a video of it because I want to watch it back another time." So I've had a nerve somewhere amongst the autistic community, people who've got, "Yeah, I don't like that either," and so it's not just me. I know many autistic people, many people with Asperger's syndrome say the same thing. Absolutely detest that meaningless drivel that people talk about nothing, and they talk about it for hours on end. I'm going to tell you a little story, and I think I can get away with this. I used to work as a geologist. I was a geologist for 23 years. And one of the directors of a company that I worked for, not going to mention any names, he was brilliant at talking for half an hour and not saying anything. Nothing meaningful at all. Could talk for half an hour or an hour. And you'd be sitting there thinking, is he actually going to get to a point? Is he actually going to say something? Because I'm listening to this and my life's ebbing away. What, what's he talking about? He's talking about nothing. He's not saying anything meaningful. It's a skill. It's an art. I'll give him credit for that. I wasn't any further forward, knowing, sat through that for half an hour or an hour in a meeting. If you're going to have a meeting with someone or a group of people about work, then the aim of the meeting is to come out of the meeting further informed about what you're talking about than when you walked in. Otherwise, there's no point having a meeting. If you didn't learn something, understand something, get the benefit of a new opinion or a different opinion, or correct something, or fix something, or get actions on people to do something going forward for the next few days or weeks or months, there is no point in the meeting. Otherwise, you're just sitting there having tea and coffee and biscuits and wasting time. A meeting should be a gathering of minds and opinions to move yourself and the team and the project and the situation forward so that you know where you're going after the meeting today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, whatever your time frame is. That's what a meeting should be for. Not to sit there and talk nonsense about nothing. Drives me nuts. Drives me nuts. People who can talk hours on end without saying anything. Don't get it. don't understand it. Really gets me quite agitated. I'm sure you can understand from the way that I'm talking to you. I get really agitated by this incessant babbling of small talk that people come up with. And a lot of autistic people, a lot of people with Asperger's syndrome, are in the same situation as me, absolutely hate it. Talked about it. Small talk. What can we do about it? Well, there's a number of things you can do. You can be blunt and say, "Excuse me, would you mind having that conversation somewhere else? I'm trying to work here." You can be blunt and do that, and you get that. Oh, you antisocial bugger. Oh, really sorry. Yeah, fine. You get one of those two responses, or you can take yourself. So if you can't stop it happening where you are by saying, "Excuse me, would you mind having that conversation somewhere else?" Or is it necessary to have that conversation at all? You're distracting me from my work or what I'm doing. Then if you can't stop it from being in your environment, then you have to try and remove yourself from the environment so that you can't hear it, can't see it, don't know, don't care what's going on with it. So that's where I might go for a walk, I might say, go to the toilet. Not the greatest thing in the world to do, but if you're in the toilet, not necessarily doing anything, but if you're just in the toilet, sitting on the side of the bath, you're at least you can decompress from the stress that situation has caused you. One of the things that I used to do when I was at work is we had our own department and we had secretaries and admin staff for that. So there would be the obligatory cupboard with some stationery in it. So I would go and get some stationery. But we also had main cupboards and main area for stationery for the whole of the building. So each department might have its own one little cupboard for the stationery, but there would be an office, a big room with rows and rows of cupboards and drawers and things where all of the master stationery was kept. And if I found myself getting in a not just from small talk, but stressed out because of situations at work, I would go, I'd have a walk and I would go to the main stationery cupboard, stationery room. There was a lovely guy in there. Great. We'd have a conversation. And that would decompress me from the intense stress of the situation that I was in, from either being stressed out because of work, because of demands, because of what's going on, or because there's some small talk going on and I can't get them to stop and it's really, really grating. So I would take myself out of the environment, go for a little walk around the building. If you've got a building with several floors, it's quite good because you can pretend you're going to see a colleague in a different department. Have a slow walk, calm yourself down, and then come back to this. It's hoping that the people had finished their small talk and you can get on with your work. But that was one of my things, was to go to the stationery room, just decompress for 5 or 10 minutes, take myself away from that situation. If you were getting repeat offenders, then you either have to say to them, look, don't want to be rude here, but you're in continued conversations about things that aren't work related in my presence is really annoying me and it's distracting me. Could you please either not have them at all, because we are supposed to be at work, or if you're going to have them, can you have them somewhere else so that they don't impact me because it's really annoying me? You can have that conversation, and then you might get called a miserable so and so, and a the sorts of words that they will come up with. If that doesn't work, then yeah, you're faced with the difficult situation of having to go to your boss and saying, "Can I have a chat with you about something?" Yeah, what is it? Well, this might not seem much to you, but to me, this is significant. This is important. This is putting me off my work and it's affecting my mental health and well being. Okay, what is it? It's this incessant small talk that certain people in the department are continually having within earshot of me. And you go, oh, come on, it's nothing. We're just talking about the football or blah, blah, blah. Or it's distracting. It's annoying and it's upsetting my mental health. I need you to understand that. It's not just, oh, they're having a chat about the football or whatever. It's worse than that. It is far more significant to my mental health and mental well-being that this is going on in my presence and it's distracting, it's annoying, and it's really getting me angry. Then we can you do something about it, please? You know, it's going to get you labeled as a troublemaker potentially, but if it's affecting your work, tell the boss, this is affecting my work. It's affecting my productivity. It's affecting the quality of the work that I do because I can't focus and concentrate on it. Those are the sorts of things you need to say. You need to say how it impacts your ability to do your job because that should be a red flag to your boss. Oh, okay. Yeah. It's a bit more than just chitty chatty, let it pass. Yeah. It's more than that. It's more significant that to me. Make a note in your diary. What I tend to do in those situations is I would email myself from my work email. I would send an email to my personal email of I've had a chat with my boss about this situation with this person talking to this person about blah blah blah. Make a note of the date, the time, who else might have been distracted or influenced by what's going on. Email it to yourself. Or if you're able to access your personal emails at work, do the same thing there. Email it to yourself so that it's not on your business server. But I don't see there's any problem with that. Keep a record. Always keep a record of these things because if it escalates or the situation isn't resolved by speaking to your boss, you may have to go to HR and they'll say, what? Have you had to work with your boss about this? This really isn't something we need to be concerned about. It's a storm in a teacup. Actually, it's not. It's affecting my productivity. It's affecting my mental state and my ability to do my work. And if it continues, I may not be able to come into work. I may be off work through stress. Ooh, those are the sorts of forms of words that you might need to use with HR. That should get their attention. So it's not just a bit of chitter chat about the football and it's finished, in 10 minutes on a Monday morning. This is more significant than that. So make a note of that conversation that you had with HR, who you spoke to, when you spoke to them, what you spoke to them about. And again, send yourself an email about it so that you've got record at home of what you said and to whom you said it. You need to protect yourself so that if someone eventually at some point goes, yeah, you were late with those last two projects. Well, I told you about it. I spoke to you about the needless chitter chatter of nonsense that is going on in the department that is significantly impacting my ability to do my work productively, effectively, efficiently, and to a high standard. I've spoken to you about it on this date, this date, this date, and I've spoken to HR about it. Nothing has happened. I can't be held responsible if you're not going to address the issue. What is your attention? That's what you might need to do. So, but in whatever it is that you need to do, keep good records. If that means you might need to keep a little surreptitious record in your own little system of you notice that this person and that person were talking for 28 minutes from 10 o'clock on such and such a date about nothing to do with work and it was distracting. Make a note of it. Make a note of the next time that the people are talking nonsense and idle chitter chatter about things when they should be working. Make a note of it, who it was. If you have an idea what they're talking about, maybe put that in. But you notice that this person, and this person were talking at this location, and it disrupted me. And there were other people in the office, such as this person, who may also have been distracted by this idle chit chat. Keep good records. Whatever you do, keep good records, so that when someone does pull you up about it and pulls up about your productivity, you can say, "Well, I've brought your attention to these things, and these are other examples." And nothing's been done. And I drew it to your attention, my boss, on this date, on this date, and on this date. And I've also spoken to HR. I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. If you put it in those terms that it's affecting your productivity, it's affecting your mental health, and you may need to be off work due to stress because of the stress of the situation of not being able to do all your work on time and knowing that your boss is going to come down on you hard because you can't get that report done or that thing delivered by Friday when it's supposed to be, they're going to come gunning for you. If you've told them that this is happening that's preventing that, you've got some defense. So be aware of that. Be aware of that. Keep good records so that if and when it does hit the fan and questions are asked, you can say, I brought this to your attention. These are the circumstances. And this is some more information about who, what, where. I don't know what else you expect me to do. This is affecting my ability to do my job productively, effectively, and efficiently. It's affecting my mental health. And if I go and see my doctor about it, he might sign me off for 6 weeks for stress and anxiety at work. Is that what you want? So keep good records. Really important that you keep good records of those situations, what it has done to you. If you have a specific example that something has delayed you in doing a piece of work for your boss or whatever you're working on, write it down, make a record of it. This person continually spoke over the course of the last 3 days. This person has spent X minutes, X hours talking nonsense to X, Y, and Z person, and this has affected my ability to do that project. And over the course of 2 weeks, that has been 2 days. I haven't been able to focus and concentrate properly on what I'm doing because of the idle chit chat of this person and that person in my earshot and in my environment. So that's preventing me from doing my work. That will get their attention. If something is late being delivered, if something is not the right standard being delivered, that's when the people in the suits are going to be coming gunning for someone. Have your information ready. Trust me. Keep good records in whatever is going on that is affecting your ability to do your job. Keep good records. Keep it quiet, keep it confidential, but keep good records. Even as I say, if that means you need to email yourself a note or you keep a note in your bag or got phones nowadays, when you go and have your tea break or you go and have lunch, you can make it some notes on your phone. There's technology available that is not within the possession of the business. You can do it on your phone. You can send yourself a text or you send yourself an email or make a note on your phone. We've all got notes on our phones, memo notes. You can do that. And then when you get home, transfer that into a master file so that you've got chronology. Spreadsheets are great for this sort of thing, but that's the way to do it. I've just talked for half an hour about small talk. Maybe I've gone on too much, but it's really important to understand that autistic people and people with Asperger's aren't just slightly miffed and go, can shrug it off. We can't. It's far more significant than that to our mental health, mental well-being, and the ability for us to be effective, efficient, and productive at work. So be aware of that. That's today's topic, and it's small talk. Keep an eye out for the video of this, which will be posted on my YouTube channel probably tomorrow. And keep an eye out for next month's topic. If there's a topic that you want me to talk about that I may have covered before or a new topic, drop me a line. You can get me on LinkedIn or you can get me on my website, which is aspergersmatters.com, or you can email me at andrew@aspergersmatters.com. And hopefully by then I will have had my background updated on my computer. I had a new computer and I haven't been able to sort my green screen out and backdrop, so I apologize for that. But hopefully next month I'll have a backdrop to my green screen so that it's not just a green screen, look something a bit more professional. So if you want to keep in touch, please do. As I say, you can get me on LinkedIn. The Resilient Asperger, that's who I call myself, how I call myself. But as I say, there's my emails and there's my website, aspergersmatters.com. And I'll be happy to talk to you if there's something about Asperger's. If you're an employer and there's something about Asperger's syndrome that you don't understand, you don't get, and you're not sure how to do it. It's okay. It's sort of okay not to know. The thing that we do wrong is not knowing and then not doing anything about it. There is the Equality Act of 2010 in the UK, which makes it an offence in the law to discriminate against someone because they are autistic and have Asperger syndrome or neurodivergent in any way. You know that? Maybe you need to speak to your HR department and get some training. But if you want to know more about Asperger syndrome in the workplace, what you can do, how you can help your staff, what reasonable adjustments are. If I've just said two words that you think, no idea what that is, reasonable adjustments are what an employer is obliged to do under the law. They are obligated to do under the law to level the playing field so that neurotypical people or people with disabilities can work effectively, productively, and efficiently in your employment, in your business. That might be as simple as having a wheelchair ramp next to the steps that get into your building. Otherwise, how is someone going to be able to? Is your building accessible to someone in a wheelchair? If you've got 7 steps from the car park up to your lovely reception area in your building, and someone in a wheelchair can't get there because your building's not accessible, come on, we can do better. It might be that you have someone who's dyslexic, and they might need their written communications to be reviewed and edited by someone else in your team before they go out of the business. So external emails, external reports, external correspondence might need to be vetted and checked to make sure that it's professional. It's not the person's fault they're dyslexic. Have someone to review their correspondence before it goes out to make sure that it represents the business well. That's a reasonable adjustment. Reasonable adjustment is, let's suppose one of your employees unfortunately has a car accident on the way home, or falls off their horse, or has a motorbike accident, breaks their hip. Very unfortunate. They're off work for a while because they've got a broken hip. They might have pins in their hip. But after, I don't know, 6 weeks, 2 months, maybe 3 months, and they've done physio and they're getting a bit more mobile, and they think, yeah, I could go back to work. Go see my doctor. Doctor says, yeah, you can go back to work if you get a chair that of this type that is supportive, that supports your back, supports your hip, then you can probably be 80-90% efficient. Take it easy, take it steady, but speak to your employer about that. I'm sure they'll be accommodating. The reasonable adjustment in that situation is to buy the chair, the right chair. That chair might cost you £200 or £300, but you're like, well, I can't do that. Okay, your employee who wants to come back to work, is desperate to come back to work, might have to be off work for another 3 months because they had to quite have the mobility to be able to sit in a normal chair. Suddenly, that 3 months has become 6 months, and that person is now starting to get depressed. Will I ever be able to go back to work? Will I be able to ride a horse again? Can I ride my motorbike ever again? Will I be able to go running ever again? Can I play squash? Am I going to be stuck with this hip and never be able to walk properly again? All of that. Can I ever go back to work? All of that gnaws away. They suddenly get depression creeps up on them. After 6 months, they're still not back at work because the employer hasn't provided a chair for them to work in. Providing the chair is a reasonable adjustment. Do you really want your employee off to be off 6 months, 9 months, a year? What do you do then? Do you get someone in on a contract basis? That costs more. And then when that employee does manage to come back, all that experience has gone away with that contract employee. They've gone, disappeared. You've managed to sort of get by, but all the experience, all the learning has gone. That person's gone on to another client. So if you don't know what reasonable adjustments are and you don't know how to manage Asperger syndrome in the workplace, please feel free to drop me that. I'd love to have a free 30-minute consultation with you with no obligation to talk about it. How I can help you, how I can give you the benefit of my experience of being someone who was different, not knowing why, and how I tried to manage myself and how I now would manage someone with Asperger syndrome in the workplace. That's all we have time for today. Thank you very much for your time. As I said at the beginning, have a happy new year, and let's hope and strive to have a better 2024 than we had 2023. COVID should be behind us. Let's hit the ground running and have a great 2024. Take care. See you next month. Bye bye.